Warning. The following broadcast features thoughts, ideas, and opinions you might find offensive. If you're easily angered, insulted, hurt, provoked, outraged, or annoyed, the following may offend you. The views expressed in this show are solely those of the individuals providing them and do not reflect the opinions of YouTube or Google. So please, don't flag this video. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello.
Welcome. Hi, Tana. Hi, Danny. Laura, Kate. Wow, everybody's here.
Oh, there they are. Hey, Rob.
Welcome.
Megan. Hello, Roman. Hello. Dope pairing.
Oh, yeah, it was a dope pairing. It is a really good pairing.
How weird. Okay, have you seen? I've seen multiple. I don't know. I know there's a word for it when you start like looking into something and then it starts appearing everywhere. Dead Silence is having a restoration release, and that's what they sent you the other day. And they're doing like I think it's Cavity Tea are doing like a release of like all these designs, like merch with Dead Silence. And then I saw someone post like a meme with magic, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, that's so random. But I guess it's when you're like,
I saw. Maybe I don't know if it was necessarily a meme, but I saw. It was like a festival account, like a horror festival account, and they posted a photo of Fap and Ron DeSantis.
Yes! What the heck? That's so random. Like, how is that? But I don't know if it's just because I don't know, that thing where you're like talking about it and you see it around.
The algorithm is algorithming.
Yeah, something like that. It's very niche this week.
Oh, I have an echo. I do?
Or is it me? It's probably me then. Let me just plug my headphones in.
Hey, that answered our question. Can I tell you guys literally every single time we get on before we go live, one of us always says, do we need to put in our headphones? I can't remember.
Tell us next time. Yeah. It's so
every
funny.
Time. We're nothing if not consistent, guys. Well, most of you that have, sounded off in the chat, I know you guys have been here before, but if anybody's lurking that hasn't, Does This Offend You? Is a show we do every month, and we talk about controversial topics in horror movies. We usually reach a little bit, so don't come for us. We know that we're reaching, and we're not usually offended by anything either. It's just a clever title.
Yeah, we're silly girls.
We're silly girls.
We're little gooses. Let us be little geese.
We also will be giving major spoilers for both films. So if you haven't seen either of these, you're welcome to hang out. You'll just get it spoiled for you. That's up to
spoiler.
You. Sounds up to you. Megan you haven't seen either of these?
What the heck? You haven't
Not
seen
even Dead
Silence? I'm so confused. I thought you watched it with us. Maybe you weren't there. We watched it not too long ago. What the heck?
It has no desire to watch either. Well, we'll tell you all the details of both of them, I guess. So,
wait, Megan, are you a Thregan hater? I'm confused. Did I know that? How can you watch that? How can you love? I'm gonna call her out. How can you love The Happening? How can you love The Happening? Dead Silence is basically like The Happening, but things actually happen. I'm so confused. Yeah.
You just broke.
Learn something new every day. I am a what? Well, I was like, Megan, do you like Megan? Thregan. Me Thregan. You know what I'm talking about.
Thank you, Ben.
I would say Megan, the way James Wan says it, but anyway. Hello, pizza.
Oh yeah. You're the one with the great username, I remember. Me Thregan. There you go.
She's like, what? Oh, you did like it. Yeah, I thought so. So you'd probably like Dead Silence. I'm confused why you wouldn't like it. Anyway.
Yeah, I feel like they do have very similar vibes.
Hmm.
Camp-wise.
Threegan, yes.
Threegan,
You
there
know.
you go. Now that we a million different ways to say Megan. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a preference to what?
No. If anyone wants to say in the how would you put it, a doll or a doll?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I think you just have to. Maybe we just do an M or a D. You know, just make it simple.
Yeah.
Just a spam. It's been a while. Hey, Maddie.
Yeah, drop a magic or a dead. Or yeah, just keep it the letter. I don't know.
A skull or a magic hat. I don't even know if that's a thing. Do the one with the doll first.
I think there might be a magic wand. Or just be creative. Let's see if we can interpret your emoji.
I always wondered about this, about Dead Silence. Why did it? What? I don't think that's going to solve anything. What?
I mean, so you don't scream, I guess, but you'll just be terrorized forever.
That sounds like... Are you confusing it with like a movie where you have to be quiet, like Quiet Place?
well, you can't scream, so I guess maybe they're going off of so you won't.
But you have to
Open your mouth
beware
and
her
scream?
stare as well. Like it literally, you can't do anything.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's beware the stare. Okay, copying ban. Oh, the tongues. That's
the tongues. Okay.
Okay,
And
I
I
can
see a
Everyone's
zippered
doing
mouth.
silent,
This
yeah.
one.
No, because Mary gets you if you scream. I think Mary gets you no matter what. To be honest.
Yeah.
It's just fun to make it rhyme.
I don't know. We can argue about that. I guess. I think she gets.
Can you scream like this though?
No,
Can you scream with your mouth closed?
Opening your mouth and screaming because then she like rips your tongue out.
So where is the line?
Opening your mouth.
Okay. When she sees your tongue. So it's beware her eyes look upon your tongue.
So
Sounds like Shakespeare.
So she can snatch it and add it to her weirdo human centipede collection of tongues.
I love that for her. Oh, that's funny.
They changed that rhyme from the trailer to the movie.
Yeah, I read that too. There's two different rhymes. They're kind of similar.
Oh. All right. Well, I guess we're starting with Dead Silence then, because everybody.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to find something for magic,
screaming.
so.
Yeah.
Unroll, stay above her victim. Like, God damn it. All right. This one's probably the one I feel like most people have seen, but I'll summarize it super quick. Dead Silence. We are following Jamie after his wife is killed under mysterious circumstances. He returns to his super creepy hometown of Ravensfair to unravel the mystery of her murder. And once he's there, he like rediscovers this town legend of Mary Shaw, who is a murdered ventriloquist, whose like ghostly, demonic, whatever you want to call it, presence like looms over the town and has basically like killed the town. Basically, she's a boss bitch, just like wiping out everybody. So as he's digging for answers, he discovers the like backstory to Mary Shaw and underlying revenge that she wants to get on the town that his family is embroiled in. Turns out.
Turns out. Yeah, it's actually, you know what? I will say, when you watch this film back, because I've watched it recently a couple of times, it's very much a stretched runtime because
it is.
I don't know if you felt that too. Yeah, there's a lot of just like he's going to the location, he's going back to the other location. There's not a lot that actually happens, which I kind of sometimes I like because I'm like, oh, this is easy to follow. The reveal, it like explains everything to you. Sometimes you need that like in between some like more complex films, and it's more about the atmosphere entirely, I think. But the film, the like opening titles, whereas one of those opening titles where it kind of has clues about what's going to happen because it's very like 2000s. I think it goes for like 8 minutes or something, and it's like
it's one of those long ones. Yeah.
By the time it actually starts, it's like an hour and 20 minutes of the film. Yeah. Yeah, I think, and I also found like watching it this time, I thought about how much it kind of like steals from The Ring. This opening, where they are at the start. I know this is like not normally does this offend you stuff, but like just Emma's opening thoughts. Where they live, it's like all rainy, and it's like there's kind of blue tone that's almost at the start of The Ring, and then when she screams, they do the like into her face, like they do in The Ring, and then it's him trying to do like not journalism, but he's trying to go find. They do the windy road to go to the town, and it just felt very much that. I got that vibe, and we'll get into why, because we kind of there's some interesting stuff with Lee Winnell that I didn't know with this one. So
it is very much 2000s blue wash. It's it's just the vibes. It's just the vibes, man. I love. It's very much like a popcorn horror movie. Like we're not watching this for like substance. We're just watching it because it's fun.
Where is this one set? What state is that? Anyone know?
Just assumed New England. That was like the vibes it was given. I don't know that it has if we establish a specific setting other than like Raven's Fair, which is obviously a made up.
Could be real.
Well, it could be. I'm sure if we looked it up, we'd find
strange names. Yeah, very strange. Twilight core.
Twilight. I don't know. It is very Twilight core.
I would say Twilight's more of like a greenish tinge, but we're talking about more like Seattle blue wash. You know what I mean?
I think it just.
Where is Forks? Where is Forks?
In Washington State.
It is. Oh, so it's not far. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Oh
Maybe it's like a line where everything
like
turns.
She hasn't even seen the movies. Oh my god.
I've only seen them once, and for the first time ever, like not too long ago. Anyway, let's talk about Dead Silence. Where do we want to start? I'm so sorry, guys. Where do you want to start? Should we start with the... Where do you want to start?
I feel like you should start with the drama, because it's super interesting. Yeah, I didn't know about this.
So the reason that I say that it could be taken from The Ring, without like this... I didn't even have this knowledge when I was thinking about that when I was watching it, but I thought this is really wild. And I'm kind of taking this directly from Screen Rant, because the source is no longer available for me to go and like kind of do my own write-up. But according to Lee Winnell's now deleted or inactive, like people say it's deleted, but it's on the way back when machine, I think. It's a blog post called, he wrote a blog post. So Lee Winnell wrote the film. He wrote a blog post called Dud Silence, the hellish experience of making a bad horror film, which is what he wrote, which is so crazy. So he said that he felt rushed into making a new film. He said that him and Wan were approached by, James Wan directed the film, Lee Winnell wrote the film. They were directed by representatives at Sundance Film Festival when Saw was screened for the first time, and they were asked to come up with a new, I don't really get this part, but it says that they were asked to come up with a new film idea in case Saw wasn't successful. But I'm like, if Saw wasn't successful, do you really want to like get two people to write a different
to make
film?
Something else? Yeah.
So I don't really know what that means. I think it was meant to say in case it was successful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, possibly.
That would make more sense. Yeah, in case it wasn't successful. That's so weird. But Lee Winnell, he reportedly regrets forcing himself to come up with a concept immediately, since he was under pressure from the short... Well, yeah, it says he was under pressure from the Saw shoot, and he called it creativity at gunpoint. He said it was one of the worst movie experiences, like in filmmaking, because when he pitched Billy the Puppet and the Mary Shaw story, the studio took over and then hired a script doctor who reportedly was overbearing and policed every change he made to his own screenplay. And you can kind of tell that it's a pretty like basic idea. I mean, it's like the dummy, and then it kind of follows the death at the start, and it's not the most unique concept. Right. As we said, it's very straightforward. on the same blog, he mentions how later in the same blog, he mentions how he's still almost glad that Dead Silence happened because it gave him an extreme coal-faced lesson on what not to do. And he refuses to sell a pitch and only writes scripts on spec, which I don't even actually understand what that means. Maybe Rob knows. Thank you so much, Megan.
Thank you, Megan,
for your nightmare fuel.
Nightmare fuel. Your doll's cute.
Just want to my dolls. Cute. Yeah, so he now he admits that he is gun shy now about working with studios, mainly because of his experience with writing Dead Silence, and he's more willing to make independent films because they don't have the money to bring in script doctors. Interesting. Yeah.
I googled scripts on spec, and it just says writing something on spec in Hollywood is just code for free. So no one is paying the writer to work on the script, nor is there any guarantee that the script will get made.
Oh, wow. Nightmare.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, not a bad plan to have a second film greenlit before your first film comes out in case it bombs. But it's like, who would greenlight your second film if your first one didn't do well? That's what I don't get, but I don't know. I'm not the one at the top of the chain, so it's
yeah.
me.
Who knows?
Not commissioned is on spec. Okay.
Not commissioned.
So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I had no idea about that. And
it gives context to the film, like when you watch it, especially knowing like you're like, I feel like when we hear the names like, you know, like Lee Winnell and James Wan, like we're expecting something now in terms of a movie. So when you watch this one, knowing it's made by them, you're kind of like, what is this?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really feel very much him.
Yeah,
that's
but
what I'm saying. It's a very
you...
straightforward story, and that's probably because they basicked it out. Like,
yeah, it makes
I would
sense
love
knowing
to
that.
know.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you know what? This is a great film that could be remade because they could like go back and remake exactly how he pictured it before. I'm sure he never would want to because he didn't. I mean, he calls it a bad horror movie. I like this film too, which is like what makes it sad.
Yeah, I think it's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah. So yeah,
I'll just agree that Lee would know. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it gave context to the movie that I didn't. It would have I wish I'd seen that or had known that going in this time, like watching it through that lens. But I mean, it makes sense.
Tanner, yeah, I think that the look wise, it definitely looks like Juan for me.
Yeah,
it looks like Juan. Not so much Lee Winnell, but definitely looks like Juan. Like it has that, that feel. And a lot of people said that they should put the dummy in like a Conjuring film. It should have its own spin-off. I saw a lot of people saying, because it's like he could be a haunted item. Like they could connect it in really easily. Like the Warrens like pick up at the start of a movie, this haunted item from this town, and it's the dummy. Like it'd actually be a pretty cool nod. If they just like connected it somehow, but yeah,
I think I'd just be happy if we just happened to see like a Billy doll like in the background of a Conjuring movie or something.
Yeah, and this is the first. It's so weird that they have 2 Billy dolls technically now. So like
that's wild to me. I feel like that's how you can tell he like really just wrote that. Like you said, like almost at gunpoint, like so quickly. Like I feel like he like didn't even come up with a different name for the doll. It's so funny. One thing about James Wan is that he'll name a creepy dog character Billy. That's right.
Hello?
That's right. Oh, hello? Did you go away?
Oh my god. What is happening?
Did you freeze? I didn't notice. Or did you like pop out?
You guys can hear me, but not.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh wow! I could not see you. I had to go. I had to go into the stream to see that I was still live.
Okay.
It's so weird.
Okay.
Am I? Oh wow! I'm really glitched out. It's fine on my side. That's what's so crazy.
Weird.
Okay, sorry guys.
I only noticed you. Like I didn't notice something where you were just like silent for a second, and then I noticed it was like, oh, you're frozen, and then you came right back. Like I see you moving and everything.
That's so weird. Sorry guys. I don't know why I'm so glitched out.
Because Emma's for on. Hold on, my stream is way out of whack. Okay, there we go.
I'm like, I look like 2 pixels. Why is dead silent? Someone said.
It's not glitching in real life, I promise.
Sorry, guys. I don't know why. I'm like 2 pixels in this.
Oh, okay. I know. Yeah, from what I can see on my stream, she's moving.
Yeah. I'm looking at the stream back, and it's fine. The thing is, my internet's fine. That's why it's so weird.
Weird. Okay.
Def low quality. Yeah, I don't know why.
Interesting.
So it's not like I stream like all the time.
Yeah.
Hopefully it comes back. I'm like 2 pixels, but hopefully you guys can hear me.
Yeah, I can definitely. Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know what's going on. Because
don't scream.
Because my internet's fine too. It's not giving me any warnings. It's weird.
How do I look to you on your side? Do I look really blurry?
Just a little bit, but also my eyesight's bad. So.
Because I look horrendous when I'm looking back, which is so weird. Anyway, who knows?
Hoping it'll right itself, because my only other option is trying to switch my Wi-Fi to something else, and then we might lose the whole thing.
I'll go down to standard definition and see if that changes.
It's weird.
On my side, I don't know how to. I'll go down to 480. Maybe that makes it.
Oh, I can't change mine in the middle of a stream, apparently. I guess that makes sense.
Okay, hopefully it works.
Weird.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to look a little bit blurry, but...
Yeah, mine's on the standard. Okay, weird. Okay. All right, well, hopefully it'll fix itself, since it kind of just happened out of nowhere. Maybe it'll...
Yeah, my internet's fine.
Fix itself out of nowhere?
Hopefully.
Don't know. Hence the glasses. The glasses aren't doing much, I promise.
Anyway, where were we?
Okay.
You guys can hear us. That's all that matters.
Yeah, dead silence. Okay. I don't know. Where do we want to go next? We can talk about, I mean, we both had points about Lisa, so we can go into that.
Yeah. Where did you, well, I guess, like, at the start of the film, when they first show, so they show the are they married? I don't even know if they were married.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are.
His wife.
He keeps saying his wife a million times.
Oh, okay. She just like randomly goes up to the mirror and puts a pillow under her belly and is like looking in the mirror, and you're like, oh god. I actually took it. I wrote down a little note, and I didn't even know if she was meant to be pregnant, which we do find out later she is. But I didn't know if it was like she's so happy, she's imagining a life where she's pregnant with this man, kind of thing.
I gotcha.
Oh, thank you so much, Kate.
Thank you, Kate.
Perhaps it will help.
Perhaps
Maybe not. Yeah, which is funny because straight away I was like, this is so fucking annoying that there's always the pregnancy trope. It has to be the woman is so much more precious because she's pregnant, she's with child, she's doing what women are meant to do, so her life means so much more. And then kind of proven wrong in the end, which I like your point to this though, but proven wrong at the end when realized it was actually meant to be that way because that's how it all started, like that they had a new child of the family line so that she had to come and take it, apparently. She didn't wait until it's born, she just took her. They didn't, that kind of when in the conception.
She's efficient. She's like, I'm taking it out right now. Like we're ending it. I get when I saw your point, I was like, I get what you mean. I think it's both. Like, I think it is a little bit of the pregnancy trope that, it's supposed to be more upsetting because we know she is pregnant. But I feel like I just feel like it was a little bit of both. It does have a purpose. I will get to it in a second. I feel like she didn't need to be pregnant, but
no, I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think she needed to be at all. But I also feels like it's a bit of like, I feel like saying motherhood trope is like a really big generalization,
Yeah.
but the idea of maybe more like childless women or the child-free woman in media, like when you think about like fairy tales, you know, like the witch character, you know, like something like Hansel and Gretel is always like this childless woman, and she is old, she's ugly, she's a, you know, a hag that like kills children or does terrible things because because that's the natural enemy in these stories. They're a threat to like traditional societal structure, and clearly no child-free woman could possibly be a well-adjusted human being. So that's why we that's why we have this. So I feel like Mary Shaw, like she has, you know, like the rhyme, she has no children, only dolls, like plus in the, you know, the film she kills that one for trying to ruin her act. But to your point, I think both exist. Like she's pregnant on purpose because of the end of the movie, but she's also a foil for Mary Shaw. So like Lisa's the tragic victim, made more tragic because she's pregnant, and then Mary is like this like barren hag witch like character, kind of setting each other off. And as I just mentioned, I feel like Lisa didn't need to be pregnant. I know what they made it make sense for the movie, which is all well and good. But it's also established that Lisa and Jamie, I think, like grew up in the same town because Lisa's the one that brings up the rhyme. So she knew it. She knew it. And I think Jamie's character says something about like, you know, is this rhyme when we grew up as kids. So they grew up in the same town. So it just as easily could have been that like Lisa's family or whatever, her grandparents or whatever, were also involved in Mary's murder. Which would have been a valid reason for her to come after her, because she like wipes out like the whole town, like anybody whose family had anything to do with her murder.
100%.
She takes out.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. No, you're 100% right with all of that. And who knows if that was writing that was changed, where it was changed along the way from the initial concept. I love Kate said that's me. I have no children, but I have a lot of dolls, because Kate collects these like horror dolls.
Yeah, her little crochet dolls.
Yeah, so I was like, that is actually so funny.
Oh my God, Kate is Mary Shaw.
I know. Don't scream.
Confirmed.
Don't scream, girlies. Yeah. Joseph says, what is Mary doing with all those tongues though? Who knows? Who knows, Skelly Pops? Who knows? Yeah. Absolutely wild. Yeah, I think that I really like what you said about the Mary Shaw. Of course, she has to be like this single woman that has no kids. It's just like so fucking funny. Like, yeah. And of course, as well, if you want to go an extra step, reach an extra step, Lisa was like the young woman, and Mary Shaw was like the old. Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, very interesting.
It's all very fairy tale-esque, but yeah, it's hard to know too, like if that was how much of it was changed or in the the writing process, how much got like shoehorned in, and
Did you want to speak about ventriloquists? Like, I thought your points on this was really interesting because I had no idea about this. Which they say in, do they say it in Magic or in this movie where they explain what the word means, and it's like to speak from your stomach?
Oh, it's part of the opening of Dead Silence where they have like that.
I watched them back to back. Yeah. I was like, which one?
The title card's right at the beginning. The etymology of the word. I mean, yeah, it's like translate to,
which
like
is really
speaking
cool.
From the stomach or something.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I didn't have to do the reaching. The movie did that one for me because normally I would go look that up. But I just thought the portrayal of ventriloquists as an art. Ventriloquism is not a word. I figured that out.
Isn't it?
It's, I don't know. When I typed it into the Google Doc, it gave me the red squiggle line. So
I think it is, but what do I know? Jesus.
I know. I just as much as me. So I just thought it was interesting because like looking into the history of like ventriloquist acts and like where it comes from and things like that. Like we kind of like, I feel like we chose a really good pairing of movies because Magic takes kind of like one route with how people view it and like kind of the history, and Dead Silence kind of takes another route. Like, so we'll get into it more when we talk about Magic, but Magic's portrayal is more like the dummies are, or the dolls are, an extension of the ventriloquist. Like a lot of famous like real life performers created like backstories for their dolls. Sometimes they would be family members, children, whatever, parents or whatever, in order to like bring them to life. In Dead Silence, though, Mary uses her talent to manipulate others for revenge because she's like using her ventriloquism talent or whatever to like fake other people's voices and lure people into dangerous situations and whatnot. And there was a lot of articles about like quote unquote demonic origins of ventriloquists. I imagine probably just like, you know, early instances of people, I guess. I don't know how you would even figure out you could do this, but like,
how do people figure out anything though?
Yeah, like I would love to be a fly on the wall the first time somebody figured out that they could do this with their voice. So, you know, there are some like early instances where people assume this was like a demonic talent or something like that. And this movie, Dead Silence, seems more aligned with that. Like the dolls are scary in Dead Silence because they are possessed by a vengeful spirit versus like the doll being like representative of like the id or something in Magic.
Yeah.
And thank you, DC.
Thank you so much, DC Carter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, Megan said it is a word. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I thought so.
Well, then I don't know what Google Docs is on about. It told me I was wrong, or I spelled it wrong, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that the sorry, totally off topic. When someone said witchy bitchy said, I mean, before Wi-Fi people got bored, but isn't like the best totally off topic, but isn't the best example of this like I can't believe I'm gonna say this, the beaver anus flavoring?
What?
in a beaver. Do you not know this?
No.
Wait, let me look up my wording. I'm sure people know. Beaver butts emit goo that is used for vanilla flavoring. So there's like a sac in their anus. Oh god, I keep freezing. Maybe I need to come out and come back in. Yeah, people know there's a sac in the beaver's anus that makes flavor. Yes, that kind of beaver. And I think that is always, whenever people say something, that's always the best example of like, how do people come up with anything? Sorry, I just had to do that. I'm gonna not one person could have guessed what Emma was gonna say there.
I know, yeah.
I honestly thought everyone knew this. Does everyone not know this? Literally look it up. Beaver vanilla flavor. That's all you have to look it up.
I feel like this is a trap for us to Google something
it's
weird.
True. It's like a National Geographic. I'll put it in this thing. I might have to come back into the chat. If I leave, and can I leave and come back with the same link? Because it's everyone's saying I'm still frozen. Let's see if I can. I'll be 2 seconds. See if I can come straight back. Hopefully, otherwise, what are we gonna do? Because I am free. Like I keep freezing apparently, and I look like I'm 1 pixel. Why is this happening? Okay, I'll come right back. Okay.
Hopefully it's not me. Thank you, Matt, for the nightmare fuel. I don't know if it's. Can I switch my Wi-Fi really fast? Will that work? Do we? Oh God. I don't know if I just fucked it. We'll find out. We'll find out. Oh, that might be why. Oh shit, it might be my fault. Hang on. Okay, we'll see. Anal gland produces vanilla flavor. Okay, I realized too, it might Hold on. No. You can't do that.
I'm here, by the way.
Okay, yeah. Yes.
I hope it. Yay! I think it worked. It worked.
Okay.
I just changed mine to 40p, like 40.
Oh, okay. I also realized my Wi-Fi. I have like an extender in this room, and it wasn't connected to that. It was connected to the other one, so it might have.
But you look fine. That's the thing, is you look fine. So that's why it didn't make any sense.
So when you jump back out, I switched it to the other one. I was like, hopefully this doesn't like kill the stream. I was like, let me switch it to the other one really quick.
That's all right. Okay, well, it worked. Now it looks better. So now we know to do that next time.
Thank you so much, Des.
Thank you, Des. Love you. It works. Yay. I'm back for 80p to talk about vanilla flavoring. Is this even more traumatic for you, Vicky, as a vegan, to hear about
I know.
this? I'm so sorry.
How the fuck am I supposed to know now? I'm never eating vanilla anything again.
Oh, my God. Anyway, if you didn't know that, I can't believe people... I have learned... So recently, I thought that we were all the same, and there's so many fucking things that I know that you guys are like, what? And I'm like, what the fuck? Is this not common knowledge? I feel so crazy.
No.
I feel like everyone's gaslighting me. Yeah.
I don't think that was common knowledge at all, but thank you for...
I thought it was like one of those things that go around like the school, you know, when people like, you know, Marilyn Manson's rib. Like, it's like the same thing. Beaver buttholes. I don't think it's all vanilla flavoring, guys. There is a vanilla bean, okay? Everyone calm down in the comments. We're not all taking...
But now we don't even know which one.
So, like, how many beavers do you think there are in the world that there's no vanilla unless there's a beaver around? We don't even have beavers in my country. Don't worry. I'm going to pretend I didn't hear about this. Beaver button 480p.
I'm gonna wipe that from my memory forever.
Anyway,
we'll never
love
be
you guys.
the same again.
Let's get back on topic because I am so sorry. These are interesting films and I just keep taking it to another place.
Puppets, guys.
I did have another point about this. Oh, I guess this is like the most intense point anyway. But there is like a lot of controversy. I don't know if it's controversy. There's a huge discussion in horror communities about whether James Wan means to be camp or if he's just camp. I think that it's pretty obvious what's going on, especially with Megan. But there's the film that really like brought this conversation to light was Malignant. Because everyone's like, was he meant to do that? And we're like, yeah,
yes.
We've gone through this. We've done Malignant before for Does This Offend You? But
yeah, we did.
I definitely think that he was meant to do it. And I think that the roots for that are shown in Dead Silence because of the razor. Which Wahlberg is it? What Wahlberg is in this film? One of the Wahlbergs. Donnie Wahlberg is the detective, and he's an absolute fucking nutto. He carries around like a face razor, and he'll just like walk into a room and go bloop, 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 bloop. And at one point he asks the main character, he's like, how do you get your face so soft? And he's literally like threatening the main character. He's like, you killed your wife. Like all the time. He's in his office, and then at the end, like, spoiler alert, of course, but how does he end up when he dies? His razor falls onto the ground. Like, and it's like the funniest, randomest, weirdest thing I've ever seen in a movie. And yeah, I have it on my notes that if I ever get to talk to James Wan, that is the only thing I want to know. What the fuck was with the razor? Because where did that come from? Like,
I don't know.
It's so bizarre. It's the weirdest thing ever. That cop was so punchable, someone said. Yeah, absolutely. I thought Emma was prepared with the razor. No, it's a remote.
Imagine if he just whipped out an electric.
I should have brought a razor in.
Oh, that would have been a really good gag to do just randomly throughout the stream.
Yeah. It was just such a weird detective thing. But Joseph says that they've met men like that. Oh my God, how awkward for them. That's so weird.
For real? He's like
the whole film. He's like at a fucking at the gravesite.
The internet has weird. No answer for this. I love.
Yeah,
it's no
it's bizarre.
It is bizarre.
It's bizarre. Camp is controversial. No, not camp is controversial. Wilson, you're not listening. is it controversial if it is camp or not? Because some people think that he's being serious and some people think that he's doing it intentionally. But when you... Well, try not to get into the malignant thing, but when you put an asylum on the edge of an old, like this, it's like rocks, a cliff, this asylum, you do a fly through over the river, it's haunted, they say, we've got to cut it out, and everyone goes, oh my god, he's being for real. He's not being for real, guys. He's not being for real. I mean, he is, but just for us, you know what I mean? Just for the girlies. So, when someone's doing this, are they being for real?
Yeah.
Is it, is it like a meta thing? I don't know. What is it?
Is he supposed
What is
to?
it?
I don't know. I was like, maybe I just haven't seen like enough of the like hard boiled like crime cop movies or something. I was like, maybe it's like a reference to like something like that. Like,
yeah, that's what I thought. Like, what is it?
But I don't know enough about that genre really.
I need to know whatever's on. I don't know. I'm just like
that
this
beaver
one.
gland.
You sicko! That's so funny. When the beaver gland hits. I need to do a meme now. I need to do a meme. I gotta do one.
The intrusive thoughts, one of them.
Yeah, I definitely did. Okay. I gotta do one.
Are you doing one right now?
I'm doing a meme. Because that was so good.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I got the funniest idea. Anyway.
I guess while Emma makes that, did this movie offend anybody?
It does not offend me.
Are you offended by an electric razor?
No, I just need answers. I like this film. I think it's fun. It's easy horror. Yeah. You're just laughing.
Oh, that's too funny.
It is too funny. That was very funny. No, it did not offend me. Did it offend anyone else in the comments?
I don't think so.
I missed the perfect blue meme.
We're
doing a new one. We're doing a new one.
They're still loaded up in here from the last one.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
When I was showing them. I was like, I can't move them now. Makes me sad that the creators seem to hate it. I don't know that they. I think it was more like based on Emma's story. I think he more just like hated the process.
Well, he did call it he did call it dud silence though. So
that is true. But it was ultimately that process that made the movie a dud for him. So I'm sure if he was able to make it under the circumstances he wanted to. Thank you, Megan.
Emma, please tell my BFF Paul that I'm sorry. Paul, she's so sorry, but not sorry. I'm kidding. Love you, Paul.
I think everyone is offended by that beaver gland fact now, though.
Haven't seen Magic, but was not offended by Dead Silence. If I remember correctly from the Hangout, you weren't either. You weren't even impressed by the cameo. What cameo?
Which cameo? Oh no, there's supposed to be somebody that we were supposed to recognize that it probably did not recognize.
I don't know. If she says Wahlberg, I don't know what to say.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll get an answer in a second. Who was I supposed to notice? I don't know.
Yeah, me either. Does anyone else know in the comments?
What cameo? This must be a deep cut. The Saw Billy puppet cameo?
Oh, I think he's in the background, maybe? Because I did have the film done by then, so.
Oh, or there was a wrestler in there somewhere. I wouldn't know.
Me either.
Yeah.
Me either.
Oh, maybe like in all of the, when they have like all the cases of all the dolls, is there like a Billy
Maybe.
from Saw puppet in there?
I think it's in the background of something. I kind of remember now. The puppet.
Oh, so you're saying
it's kind of, you can't really put it
shot,
in. You can't really Google it because it's called Billy anyway.
Yeah.
So
you would have to be, I think you would confuse Google.
I'm sending you the meme.
Oh, God. Okay.
I hope I spelled it right. Vicky has to put it up.
Okay, hold on. Fuck. Oh my God. Hold on. Coming at you in just a second, guys.
We're not ready. It's not that good. It's funny.
Okay, here we go. Hold on, it's loading. All right. Here's the meme that Emma was working on.
Sorry, it was quite small, but yeah. I'll put it on Twitter as well.
Oh my God.
I'm putting it on Twitter if anyone wants it.
That's gonna be a deep cut inside joke. Does this offend you?
I just put it up on Twitter with like no context at all, like no caption. Anyway.
Oh my God. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, he is in the wall. Oh no, sitting on the ground in front of the wall.
Yeah, I think I remember it, but
okay.
Meh.
I clearly missed it, so.
Oh, look, Dino's here.
Oh, thank you, Dino. Evening and congrats for beaver glands. Anybody
Thanks,
new ever coming into a stream now, the whole chat's just gonna be beaver glands.
They don't expect anything else.
Like, what the fuck? I'm leaving.
But I think we both weren't offended by this one.
No, yeah, we weren't.
No.
Offended. All right, magic.
Let's get into it. A little bit of a darker one.
Yeah, this. Yeah, I don't know if this one will be quite as fun, but
spoiler alert.
Yeah, huge spoiler alert. I'll give you guys a quick little rundown of the plot for anyone who hasn't seen it and you're sticking around. So Magic follows Corky, who is like an up and coming performer / entertainer. He does like card tricks along with this ventriloquist doll named Fats. Corky gets the opportunity for his own show on TV, but panics and flees the city when he hears that there's like a medical exam that is required. I don't know if that's an actual real thing. I would love if somebody would just know that to let me know, because that just seemed very specific. The like a medical exam before he like to sign with the TV studio or something. Because that just seemed really weirdly specific, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, he panics when he learns that there's going to be a medical exam, and he flees the city and he goes back to his hometown and he meets back up with his childhood crush, Peggy. But the doll, Fats, seems to have a mind of his own and apparently gets jealous and tries to thwart Corky and Peggy's relationship. And then the husband shows up and it's a whole thing and it gets like really crazy. And there you go. No beaver glands in this one. Exactly.
I think you're right, Daniel. And hi, Daniel, by the way. Yeah, I think you're right that it's for insurance purposes. But it is a bit weird. It's not like when you... Okay. I guess if you have like a TV spot or whatever, they might have to just make sure you're okay before, you don't have any heart issues or whatever that could make you sick, that they would plan a whole spot around you, I guess. But yeah, I hadn't heard of that either. But I guess it kind of makes sense in a weird way. But yeah. This film is so different than the other one, obviously. But I think the main point, and of course, spoiler to point out, is by Rob, is that this film, it does kind of toy with whether the doll is haunted or not, but just kind of like psychologically for the viewer, where it's very obvious it's not. There's just one point where, you know, the doll stabs someone and he's behind the he's behind the curtain holding the doll. So like it kind of like plays with you, or like just the tiniest bit, but which I thought was really interesting, because the whole point is it's meant to be a psychological kind of nightmare, and all about mental illness and him hiding behind the doll. So I think it's really interesting how sometimes they like play with that perspective. Oh my god. I'll let you take that one, Vicky. Since
I brought up wrestlers. Well, since you brought up the wrestlers, Maven the Wrestler started a YouTube channel. There's a wrestler named Maven? Just Maven? That seems like that's an interesting name for a wrestler, but the first who's the third person? Who's the other person? Me, a wrestler, and who?
Yeah. Who is the other one?
I gotta know. Thank you for the Nightmare Fuel, Wilson. You don't have to do Nightmare Fuel for every time.
Yeah, comment. I think it's so funny that some people think your name is Maven.
That'd be really cool.
I've gotten comments before being like, "Your friend Maven." But I guess people call me Spooky, so
yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny. Do we want to start with the mental health stuff?
Yeah, we can get into that.
Yeah, I actually really liked the way, I mean, you have some really good notes on this, but I really liked the way that they tackled the mental health in this, because obviously there's this is a huge debate in horror, the portrayal of mental illness, but as well, more so when they become the villain or they doing like the bad stuff. Split is like the biggest example of this.
Yes.
People always bring up Split as so we obviously have to be mindful of how we're painting monsters and how we're portraying the mentally ill, like, and if there's crossover or not. But I really liked that this film was kind of straightforward, and I mean, we'll get into, there is definitely ambiguous parts in it. They're not diagnosing him, but they're straightforward in explaining what is triggering him. Like that triggers the start of it, which is like the self-sabotage. And obviously, other than we don't know what is wrong with him, but we're kind of aware that he is aware that something is off. Which is why we think that he wanted to get away from the mental health assessment. But they talk about it from the start of the film, how he has a problem with self-sabotage. Every time he like goes to get something, he like sabotages himself. And we see this it just is the whole story. Every time something happens, he'll sabotage it. Every time something else happens, he'll sabotage it. And I just thought that it was like a really interesting way to show that downfall, and just a very straightforward way. Especially using fats as a coping mechanism. I just think it's a really good example of mental health in horror, without over-explaining it or dehumanizing him. So I thought it was like a nice in-between where they don't push the story too intensely, but kind of just show the patterns of behavior that someone who is having mental struggles can get into, using coping and then falling back down, and just this vicious cycle where they can't really get out. And unfortunately in this film, he finds no escape from that. So I just thought that was a really good example of that.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that they...
Sherilyn Barnes. My life is mental horror. I love you.
It's like tagline to all of our lives, I feel like.
Yeah, 100% mental horror.
But yeah, as you're saying, the movie is like, they don't put a diagnosis on him at all, which is really interesting when you like go through the reviews and like articles about this movie, because I feel like because it's so vague a little bit, I don't know if that was the intention, to like have people make their own interpretations of like what's wrong with quirky, but there are so many that they try and put a label on it. Like I saw a couple of articles that try and label it as like schizophrenia and things like that, and or DID or whatever, and they try and put labels on it, which I think is interesting because they do leave it so vague that it could just be like a downward like spiral, like not necessarily like a mental illness. He could just be going through like a rough time or something, like if you're just taking, you know, this piece of his story that we're seeing in this movie. But I feel like it's super telling that he's afraid of the medical exam specifically. Like that's his deal breaker. To me, it felt like he was like, it would still go, like it still lends itself to that self-sabotage idea, because I think there's a fear on Corky's end of what that medical examination might reveal. Possibly, like maybe something might come up that he doesn't want. He doesn't want to address it, and doesn't want to face it, because I mean, thinking about like how long ago this movie was made, it came out in 1978, and I mean, we, you know, talking about mental health and mental illness is not where it could be, but it's so much more better now considering how it was back then. So, you know, there's definitely more of a stigma of, I feel like it was stronger of talking about it back then. So he might have been afraid of what that might reveal. I did see an interview. It was like it looked like it was like right when this movie came out. It was so old. This video interview with Anthony Hopkins. And there's a part where he's like describing Corky's character, and he describes him as somebody who I did appreciate too, that he didn't try and like, he didn't get on interviews and be like, yeah, he's schizophrenic or something like that, or that's how I played him or anything.
But he's like very sensitive, like obviously because he did the father, like he's very sensitive to this kind of topic, I think. Yeah,
which I think it came across. I think you know, that's why I was like, well, let me see like what, you know, how he played the character, how he interpreted it. He just describes Corky as somebody who never grew up emotionally. And when he's talking about the doll Fats, he describes him as like a teddy bear or like a childhood blanket or something, and it's like a shield that Corky uses to like face reality, and he is like, you know, it's like a security blanket of sorts, which I don't know, I thought it was an interesting take, and also just feeds into the movie's message of like not diagnosing him as well.
Yeah, you've got to wonder, the medical exam is like really interesting, because it's like, you're right, like, but is the guy at the very start, is that meant to be his father, who's like also sick? The guy who's on the couch that he's like,
I thought it was like, is that supposed to be the whatever Merlin Jr. or whatever?
Oh yeah. But like, I just thought if they were related or anything like that, like, because they showed that he was sick, and I was like, oh, does he think it's like a disease that he has? Like a genetic, or I don't know. There was just like so many different ways that you can read if he is scared to find something that he knows is there, or if that's just the last straw that's separating him from this amazing opportunity, his life dream, and he's just so scared to get it and then fail. So, and I also think it's really interesting the totally, I mean, not really off topic, but the transition between he is failing and he's so bad at what he does, then in the next scene he's like headlining this show with I went back because I was like, did I miss it say like 5 years later or anything? It doesn't say anything. It just like it shows the next scene he's really bad and he's bombing doing this performance, and the next scene he's like headlining. It's like the weirdest thing ever. But because I was like, how did he get from that to that without self-sabotage? Because then every other step we see, he sabotages himself along the way. So that's like, just the pattern of behavior was really interesting.
It's a weird like loss of time, because it's obvious that there's like I feel like there's like two jumps like there in the beginning. That's like it becomes obvious like a couple of scenes later that there was a passage of time that we kind of missed.
Oh yeah, well we missed him even meeting the dummy and like getting
I feel like that was an important thing we missed between that jump of him bombing and then him being so successful. Like where did he come across this dummy? Where did he find him? How did this all come
and if
about?
it's this like security blanket, like where did he pick that up? Because at the start you see he's like really nervous in the club and he's like, you know, stuttering and he doesn't know what to do to get the crowd's attention, and then he goes from that to like the polar opposite. So it's weird that we didn't see a progression in that.
Yeah.
Because, like, the guy just says, oh, you just need to get some charisma or whatever, and so all of a sudden he's got a dummy. Like, it's, really interesting.
It is interesting. I did see a couple of, like, reviews and articles into talking about how Corky is, like, he is, like, representative of charisma, or that, like, you know, being able to put yourself out there, and they, like, he channels it through the doll, because they compared it to I guess, like, at the end when Peggy kind of, like, imitates Corky at the very end, because I had to look up that, because I was like genuinely to Google, like, what the fuck was that? Like, her doing the Corky voice at the end. Yeah. Which is, and it's they talked about it, like, that courage or charisma needed, like, you know, after everything that happened in the movie, she has the courage, I guess, to go try and start this relationship, I guess, you know, and that's how the movie ends. But I get, maybe that's, I don't know, that was the only explanation I really had for the doll. Maybe he used it as, that's where he got his charisma.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's right. But it just would have been nice to see that. And it's also very interesting, which I think goes into the next point about, like, Fats the dummy himself, which seems to be the complete opposite of the main character, who's, like, quiet and shy and reserved, and then Fats is, like, literally, like, sexually harassing the audience, talking about their tits.
Yep.
Which I don't know if it's, like, a product of its time, but I would be mortified if I'm, like, sitting in a crowd. How scared when you go to, like, I'm sure a lot of people can relate here. I'm sure a lot of people are introverts. When you go to, like, a comedy show and then they start, like, calling people out, you're like, don't. I cannot.
You just start going like this.
Yeah. I hate it. Like, I've gone with my partner a couple times to, like, stand-ups, and my partner wants us to sit in the front, and I'm like, I don't want. What if they ask me what my name is? Like, it's terrifying. But yeah, the Fats the dummy is just, like, off the walls, just making all these jokes, and I'm like, if that's charisma, like, that's just.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of play off each other, that who he is somewhere in the middle, maybe. I don't know. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it becomes kind of the act that I feel like Corky is the more refined one. Like, he's the, you know, like, don't laugh at that, don't, you know, like, to the
exactly.
That becomes, like, so it's like his quietness and his shyness kind of is his charisma, which I guess kind of makes sense given, like, the end when they're dying and Corky is like, it's us has been you or something the whole time. Like, he's like,
he's like, now I get it.
Because Corky doesn't ever, like, he doesn't, like, really do those things. He doesn't walk around talking about, like, women's tits all of a sudden just because he has this doll. It's always through Corky. But because of his act, it's, like, kind of a charisma, I guess, that attracts people. Because it's like, oh, he's kind of, like, reserved and shy, but then he's got this quirky doll. I don't know.
No, interesting. Thank you so much, Wilson, and thank you, Bronson, as well.
Bronson.
Sorry, Bronson. We have the same last name. How cool is that?
Hey.
It's spelt the same way. Love that for us. That's so cool. I have not seen Vampire in Brooklyn, I don't think, so sorry.
Off topic. Think I have either, yeah.
Not that I can recall right now, anyway. Not that, but thank you. And thank you so much, Wilson. I thought that Fats was meant to be a metaphor for, what is that? What's that word?
Oh, Young, the psychologist.
Archetype of the shadow.
Or therapist.
That's the doesn't says everything he suppresses. Maybe.
I've also seen people compare him to, like, like Corky's id, like his impulses and, you know, like that. I guess that would kind of explain the sexualizing of women behavior, you know, just the unfiltered thoughts coming out. I don't know.
Do we want to talk about this fucking bizarre relationship between Peggy and her husband? It is such a weird... Okay. There's a movie that came out, and I don't want to say what it is because I know a lot of people haven't seen it. And it's not a spoiler, but and it's not horror. But there's a big movie that came out, and it was about a relationship you thought was kind of going to go one way, and it goes a different way. That was very vague, which is good. Yeah. And it just really reminded me of this film because I thought it was really interesting, Peggy's relationship with her husband. Because... when we usually follow a protagonist who we're meant to love and have, I guess, feel bad for, or, you know, feel sympathy or empathy for, whatever, of course, like, if they cheat with someone who has a partner, so Peggy with her husband, of course he has to be an abusive piece of shit. Do you know what I mean? Like,
of course,
because otherwise we can't justify why someone we like would be doing that.
Right.
Doesn't matter about Peggy doing it. Like, Peggy's still openly and freeing, just fucking around.
Yeah.
And so I thought that it was really interesting how this film shows their relationship, because it's not like when the husband gets home, you think it's going to be, oh, this is going to be, like, intense. But they all have dinner together. Sorry, should preface this. Peggy, if you haven't seen the film, Peggy, like, is living in this inn.
They, like, run, it's, like, cabins
chalets
around a lake.
Yeah,
that you can rent. Yeah.
And he comes to stay there. And when him and Peggy see each other for the first time, whatever, they end up having sex, and then her husband ends up coming home eventually, and then they all sit there and have dinner, and the two men actually get along quite well, and they're joking, and it's all fine. And it's just really interesting, because that would be the kind of the tipping point usually, where they show, oh, he's horrible to her, but he's actually quite understanding and super nice. But later they show him being aggressive towards her and like abusive, and it's just like it comes out of nowhere, and I'm like, what are they just and I mean, you know what, like, people are complicated, so it makes sense, but it was just really interesting, because it's like, and then she has to make the decision whether she wants to stay with him or not, and then I think it's really interesting, she ends up choosing it is Corky, isn't it? Corky? What's his name?
Corky.
It feels such a weird name to say. She chooses him, and then she has to tell her husband, and she says, I'm going to wait and tell him, because I should give him his pride, all this stuff. And it's just like a really interesting, because it's like, I guess I'm kind of impressed by it in a weird way, because usually you would be like, oh, they're going to run away, and he's so bad, it doesn't really matter. And they present it in a really interesting way where the husband ends up getting killed. And so she's just forever waiting for him to come home, which I thought was just like because she wanted to be like dignified and leaving him, even though she's already cheated on him. Yeah. So the whole thing is
clear.
Which, I mean, you know what? It might be like more, aligning with like realistic relationships, because it's not so, black and white, where he's bad, they cheat, he saves her. It's really interesting. I just thought it was like a really weird, like, dynamic.
And it's weird too, because like, to your point, like, making her kind of a sympathetic character, to where it's like, oh, obviously she would cheat on this guy. It's not like we see him being aggressive or abusive towards her beforehand. This is a couple of scenes after. So really all we have to go on, like, is that Corky and her went to school together, and they were kind of like, I wouldn't say like sweethearts, but they both say that they had crushes on each other. So and then Peggy is just like talking shit to Corky about her husband Duke, and how he doesn't satisfy her in bed. The men have amazing names in this movie, I have to say. But that's up until that point, that's the only reason. Like, so I feel like she's that's almost like portraying her as like a shitty character. Start, and then you're kind of like, oh, I don't know, when he gets aggressive with her later, and you're like, okay, well, maybe he's also shitty.
But then
straight up talking shit about him, and while she's sleeping with Corky, like, he doesn't.
Yeah, it's really weird. And then Corky and Duke go out to the river, and they have like this weird moment, and then Duke kind of confesses, because there's this like throwaway line where he was like in real estate, and he kind of confesses, oh, my real estate business didn't, I didn't decide to leave that. There was nothing there. And then you feel kind of bad for him, because then it turns into this whole thing of like, who's the more successful man in the situation, who can get the woman. And he's like, and he's basically like, I can't compete. Like, it's kind of fucked up, because Corky just like comes there and just like ruins their marriage. And well, yeah, in the end kills him, so definitely ruins it. But it's just like, it's a very strange dynamic because, and I kind of like that about it. It's kind of like as complicated as it is, you know, in real life about like mental illness. They portray mental illness in a really interesting way, that there's not all the answers are there, and it's, you know, you'd have to have a lifetime of therapy to figure out what's actually wrong with him.
Yeah.
And their relationship is very like, there's all these different facets to it that you just kind of get a glimpse of. And I really enjoyed that about the film. I just thought it wasn't as straightforward as, it's very weird to see because you only get to see a couple of scenes, but that is what life is like, you know what I mean? Like you can't explain all relationships in just a couple of scenes. So yeah, it's kind of bizarre. I just thought it was so bizarre.
You almost get like whiplash from how quickly it changes, because you're like, oh, like Duke is supposed to be this like really aggressive, abusive, like macho man, and then like you said, when they're in the boat, they like, he kind of tries to bait Corky into saying he slept with her, and so when Corky doesn't give in, he's like, I'm losing her, or whatever. He gets like emotional, like instead of starting a fight or something, which is really interesting. I don't know. I feel like there was some stuff. It was like very surface level. Like you mentioned it for 2 seconds about like, you know, toxic masculinity and like, you know, patriarchy.
Oh yeah. Did you want to talk about that stuff? That's fucking wild.
I mean that was really it. It was just kind of like little bits here and there where it's like you're kind of expecting. It's just like toxic, like patriarchal behavior, like expectations of men in this movie. Like I mentioned, like the first time we hear about Duke, Peggy's telling Corky in bed that Duke doesn't satisfy her, and that's up until that point, that's like the only sin that he's committed. Like we don't know that he is aggressive, we don't know anything like that. So it's like, I don't know, like talking shit on him just because he can't like that's their only role, you know what I mean? Which is
and I think that's so weird to talk about to like a potential new partner straight away as well.
And somebody you're literally in bed with, like they literally just got done
so
having sex, and she's like, and you know, you're just so much better than my husband at this.
Does not make her look good, to be honest.
I don't think any of them really looked good at all. Even Corky was a bit, he gave me the ick. I mean there's a lot going on with him, but he gave me the ick specifically in that scene when he's like trying to read her mind with the cards, and he gets really angry with her and like frightens her and yells at her when it doesn't work. Which was like a huge red flag. And then I don't know, I guess whether you choose to believe Fats or not, for context later on, Fats tells Peggy that was a trick, that he saw her card like when she split the deck, and so it was a trick.
That's all tricks, aren't they?
Right, that's true, but
they're not
like,
real.
Revealing that, like, you know, she wanted, but it was established that she liked believing in magic. She wanted to believe in magic. She wanted to believe they were soulmates, and that's why she chose to go with him. And it was all a trick, that he just saw her card and pretended like he read, you know, they read each other's minds or whatever, and they were connected. And that was just even like, if that is true, or we choose to believe that's true, it's even more of a red flag how angry he got at her when it didn't work.
You know what that reminds me of? It's Ghostbusters. It's exactly what happens in Ghostbusters with the cards
at
the start. It's exactly what he's doing. So that's kind of funny. That's really weird. No, that is and that is like one of those scenes where it's like they're having fun, they're joking around, they're flirting, and then all of a sudden it's like bang, and he's like getting really angry, and she's like, I'm sorry, I'm scared. And that was just such a weird thing. I didn't think they were going to come back from that. Like I thought he was going to snap after that.
And then after it works or whatever, she like kisses him, and it gets all like romantic, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, no, I can't figure it out either. Joe put in a really good comment, and thank you again, Bronson.
Thank you, Bronson.
I haven't seen that movie, but I haven't seen any of the Haunted Mansions.
None of them? Oh, okay.
No, the new one's coming out here in like still another week and a half. It's until it comes out, so I have to rewatch. Well, I have to watch the first one. I've only been on the ride.
That's
Joe
technically the OG.
Is it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Joe said that she also implies he was cheating away on business trips. Joe, your picture is just killing me, I have to say. Every time your picture pops up, it's so funny. You look very happy. Yeah, good pickup. because I didn't even write that one down.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Just
I
giving
guess
you the
that
ick.
they're trying to justify what they're doing, which is really interesting.
Yeah. Just gave me the ick.
Yeah, I agree.
No? Yeah.
That was my first time being drunk, lol. Cute. Very cute, Joe. Very cute. Love that for you. Yeah, is that all we have on this
That was all I had. Yeah, I was just
That's
checking
all
your
she
notes. I
wrote?
think that's all. I think that's all she wrote.
week?
Wow. So did magic offend you?
No, I actually really like this film. I think it's like
Yeah.
it's just a very interesting, it's a very
It
interesting,
is.
it's a very interesting film. And I think, like, I don't know, these like older films always have such interesting developments in the way they paint their characters. I don't know, they don't follow like a really predictable formula, I find.
Yeah.
And I found this one was like it's like a little gem. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, a
very
bit of
weird movie.
a cult classic. Somebody mentioned it a while ago. I didn't really see any recent news on it, but apparently it's being remade.
Oh shit! Okay,
I'm trying to see who mentioned it, but I think Sam Raimi is supposed to be
I can't
doing
really
it.
see that.
Yeah, so I cannot find. Oh, thank you. There it is. Okay, yeah, your horror bestie mentioned it.
What?
Yeah.
I don't really get that, to be honest. Because, I mean, I like him as a director, but I just don't get why he would do this film.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either. Most of the news I saw about it, though, was like from late 2022, so I don't know what the status of that is.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at it now, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. God, Anthony Hopkins is just so good. Oh! Roy Lee! I know the guy who's producing it. I should ask him.
Oh, okay.
That's my BFF. Cool. That's so random.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's anything else. No, it's just all about him. I will ask. I will ask and I'll find out.
Yeah, find the tea for us. Figure out what's going on.
I will. I'll email him. But yeah,
we'll
that's so
report
wild.
back next. Does this offend you?
Yeah, I'll ask him about the beaver glands as well.
Like, and also, did you know?
Just yeah, PSA.
God.
Could you imagine?
All right, well, guys.
Yeah. How is everyone?
How is everyone? How are you all doing after this episode? Let us know.
Yeah. Did you survive? Did you find them offensive?
How is your mental state after this?
I gotta check out see if anyone wrote anything on my Twitter. They just let it go. They're like, okay, Emma is Emmering.
Nobody's commented yet.
Someone retweeted it, reposted it. I'm just assuming they're here. Because imagine if they're not.
That's wild. If they aren't, they're just like, yep, and repost.
Yeah, I'm gonna put on my Discord as well.
Oh my
But
God.
yeah, thank you guys all so much. Honestly,
Yeah.
the life-changing screen.
Yep, we always manage to one up ourselves. I feel like every stream
Yeah, somehow.
can always trust that for does this offend you.
One up, one down. Somewhere.
Echoes, Wi-Fi issues. It's we're the complete package, guys.
Truly educational.
Truly.
And thanks for all of your comments, guys.
Yes,
Very
thank you
smart.
for your
I love that.
comments. Thank you for all of your nightmare fuel. It's really appreciated. And yeah, so for anyone who's a patron of ours, we're going to film our post show after this for you guys. We always decompress, talk about whatever, try and figure out what we're going to do next episode.
Mhm.
It's super interesting. I promise. It's the best. It's the best thing. So everybody should be on our Patreons and watch that. And also all of our links are in the description, and you should just follow us because why not?
Please do.
Yeah.
What have you done lately, Vicky? What's your
Fire
latest
memes.
video?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't upload anything this week. What was my latest video? I can tell you what I got coming next. I did just read a very, very good horror book. That's like a queer feminist spin on Frankenstein. So I'm going to be doing like a review of that and kind of an exploration of Frankenstein, because there's a lot lately of books and stuff coming out that's kind of like a twist on that classic. So it's Our Hideous Progeny. If anyone has read it, it's a very good book. And what about you?
I just put out a video about 5 deleted scenes that were too disturbing to make the final cut. But honestly, the first one fucking blew my mind. So I would say it now, but you know, I'm meant to be teasing a little bit.
Yeah, go watch the video to find out.
The first one, wild, absolutely wild.
All right, love that. All right, well, that's it for us.
Yay.
Have a good night, you guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.